Hi, my name is Dr. Doug Williamson, and I'm a Managing Director of the PMO and Technology Enablement at the Precision Task Group. I've spent more than 35 years leading complex initiatives across financial services, healthcare, higher education, government, and consulting. Alongside my executive work, I also am an adjunct professor teaching business communications, negotiations, and conflict resolution at my alma mater. What ties all of that together is this complex reality that complex work doesn't fail because leaders lack intelligence or effort. It fails when trust erodes under pressure. Today, I want to share how leaders can deliver hard outcomes without burning trust along the way. The first point I'd like to make is complexity increases the cost of poor communication. The more complex the work, the more communication becomes the work. In large programs like ERP implementations, organizational change, enterprise PMOs, leaders often assume alignment because everyone is nodding in the meeting, but complexity hides in misunderstandings until they become conflict. Trust erodes when expectations aren't explicit. For instance, if it's not clear who decides the next course of action, or what does done actually mean? Has the definition of done been clearly documented and communicated, especially in agile-centric projects? And ultimately, trust erodes when priorities collide without a clear path to resolution. Strong leaders don't just communicate more, they communicate more precisely. Clarity isn't micromanagement, it's respect. The next point I'd like to make is conflict isn't the enemy, avoidance is. In complex environments, conflict is inevitable. Different incentives, timelines, pressures collide. The mistake leaders make is treating conflict as a failure instead of what it is, leadership responsibility. When leaders avoid hard conversations, teams fill the gaps with assumptions, frustrations, and honestly, that's when trust quietly breaks. High trust leaders address conflict early, directly, and professionally. They separate people from the problems and model calm, ethical decision-making even when the answer isn't popular. Trust grows when people see consistency, not comfort. Point 3 is leaders signal trust through how they make decisions. Every decision sends a message, especially in complex work. When leaders change directions without explanation, override agreed processes, or negotiate behind closed doors, teams stop believing what they're told. Execution slows because people protect themselves instead of doing the work. Trust is reinforced when leaders explain the why, not just the what, and when leaders honor agreements or clearly renegotiate them, and when renegotiation is necessary, make the trade-offs visible instead of pretending everything is a priority. To be clear, people don't need perfection. They need fairness and transparency. So here's my call to action. When you're leading complex work, it isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about creating clarity, addressing conflict honestly, and making decisions people can trust, even when the pressure is high. If you want better execution, start by protecting trust, because once trust is gone, no framework, tool, or methodology or strategy will save that work. Lead clearly, address conflict early, and remember how you lead the project matters just as much as whether the work gets done.